Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show. Lemon Live at 5. Don Lemon Live. What city am I? I told you guys I'm in New Orleans, so I made it safely. Flights on time, everything. So thank you for joining us. I just honestly checked in my hotel room, and then I'm going to go to the festivities tonight or whatever, to the opening night. I'm at the book festival here in New Orleans. So there you go. That's why I'm not in my home studio. MAGA's in crisis, y'all. They're in crisis, and they're trying to pretend that they are not in crisis, but they are really in crisis. It's not hyperbole. This is not spin. That is a simple fact. Wait till my guest, who's coming on next. We'll see what she has to say about it. Donald Trump's cabinet knifing itself right now, left and right. The Dow Jones is cratering. It's down nearly 200 points yet again. And then we have breaking news, right? Just today, President Polk, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik's nomination to U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, because he has seen the polling that if she leaves Congress, then Republicans are in a real doozy of trouble. Republicans will likely lose the House majority, and he does not want that. So much to break it down with. Fortunately, I have the perfect guest with me, and that is Nina Turner, one of the most prominent voices in the progressive movement. She's an activist, a professor, a senior fellow at Race Power Policy, a former Ohio State senator, and she was a national surrogate for Bernie Sanders in 2016. She's national co-chair of Bernie Sanders 2020. Nina,
Don,
how you doing?
How you doing?
Seriously, no, I want to. You look great, by the way. Thank you for coming on, but I really want to know how you doing, because this could get to you.
Oh, yeah, it's hard times. I mean, I have to just get up every morning and find the things to be grateful for in the face of being ready to do the types of things that we do, which is shed light. And thank you so much for shedding light on what is happening in the body politic in this country. Every single citizen, democracy. Well, we're a republic, but as we refer to it as a democracy, it's not a spectator sport. So people got to be informed. They got to be engaged. They got to know what's happening. And you and me and so many others, we make sure that people know what's going down. This is heavy times, no doubt about it.
All right, let me ask you for real, though. You say we're in a democracy. Are we really in a democracy anymore? Because I don't know about that. I think we're in a autocracy, or it's a dictatorship or something, because nobody's following any rules, as you can see, as we're going to talk about in a moment.
Yeah, it's rolling that way. I'm saying theoretically we are a republic, a representative democracy, theoretically. But we see that this administration and the GOP barely controlled Congress seems to believe that the president is above the law. And quite frankly, the Republicans, and I will tell the truth about the Dems too, but let me just go and focus on the Republicans, put the Democrats in my parking lot. They have abdicated their responsibility to be a and equal branch of government and put some checks and balances on this president because they fear his wrath. So theoretically, we're supposed to be a representative democracy. But for now, the party that talks so much about law and order is just skirting the law, trying to cancel and shame judges, suing everybody. They're ruling by fear. So no, Don, technically, from a practical sense, at least on the federal level, not so much.
Yeah. Someone in the chat said oligarchy. Jamie Fisher says we aren't in a democracy right now. We really aren't. And let's talk about it, okay? Because here is what is going on. The latest on Signalgate. By the way, I've been telling people, if you watch the Fox News and the Republican, the conservative media, you would think that this is something great, or it doesn't exist at all. But we're going to show you what the big story is, what the breaking news, or what the news is. And then we do have some breaking news. This is NBC, an article that NBC is doing on what they're calling Signalgate. And if we can put it up, that would be great. But Signalgate, and the president is also, well, that's a soundbite there. Oh, there it is. Somebody has to go down. Now, I don't know who you think is going to go down, but Trump allies take aim at Mike Waltz is who they're taking aim at. Here's the report, and then Nina and I are going to get back with you. Here it is.
Overnight, President Trump downplaying the now infamous Signal group chat, in which secret American airstrikes were discussed for days by top officials, in the presence of a magazine editor inadvertently invited.
There was no problem, and the attack was a tremendous success.
Trump distancing himself from the ongoing national security scandal.
I wasn't involved in it, but I feel very comfortable, actually.
His defense secretary also downplaying it overnight.
Nobody's texting more plans. I know exactly what I'm doing and exactly what we're directing.
But Atlantic editor Jeffrey Goldberg, who was added to the chat by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, witnessed days of deliberations and discussions of planned U.S. airstrikes so detailed, he says he initially doubted they were real. Waltz taking responsibility for creating the chat.
I take full responsibility. I built the group.
While also attacking Goldberg, whom he says he's never met.
Of course, I didn't see this loser in the group. It looked like someone else.
Earlier, President Trump telling me in a phone interview that he still had confidence.
Pause it real quick, please. Nina, why'd you say mm-mm-mm? Why are they sullying this man and calling him a loser? It's not his fault that he was in the thing.
No, he didn't create the chat. I mean, they're the losers. I mean, they're talking about mediocrity. This is not merit-based, right? None of these folks, this ain't merit-based. They need to go back and somebody should answer for this. It's not even so much. So the signal is one thing. I think a larger concern here should be the fact that the executive branch is violating Article 1 of the Constitution, airstrikes without the permission of the United States Congress. Now, other presidents have done this. President Biden did it too. They didn't have a Signalgate, but they have taken, airstrikes without expressly going to the United States Congress. For them to try to deflect, though, them being the current president and the people who are on this thread, calling Jeff Goldberg a loser. They're the losers. There was a saying, I know you are, but what am I? This is really about them and their failure, epic fail to protect the American people, to do things decently in order. That's number one. And number two, a 5-year-old would have known better than to put something like this on Signal, and the less known to invite a journalist. So they are trying to deflect onto to Goldberg their failings. They should not be calling this man a name. Don, what did this man do? He did nothing wrong.
Yeah, and okay, let's just say, I'm not saying that he is. Let's just say the man is the worst person in the world, as they say. What does that have to do? It was their blunder.
That's right.
So I don't understand it. Donald Trump is saying, I don't know anything about this. He's like, I don't know nothing. I never met the man. Who Haig said? Waltz, I don't know them. He does it every single time.
Yeah.
All of these concerned that the president of the United States is not aware of something like this and has no intimate knowledge of what's going on.
That's even a bigger problem. And let me just go on to diversity, equity, inclusion. See, they can't blame that on this.
That part.
Right. They can't blame this on DEI. So I wonder what they're going to blame this on. They have to look at the people in the mirror and just come to a conclusion that instead of trying to deflect this to Goldberg, who is the journalist who was placed in this, they need to apologize to the American people, tell the American people they messed up, that they're substandard, that they're mediocre, and on top of that, don't do this kind of stuff on Signal. Why can't y'all just get together? I mean, just the cavalier attitude too, Don, about dropping bombs on folks, and you're doing it in a Signal chat.
Well, it's as if they are calling a football game. He's down to the 50th. Now he's down to 10. Now he's down to 10. And then, oh my God, he's throwing a bomb. Yeah, let's see. It's a Hail Mary. I mean, that's and that is supposed to be good. They are downplaying this.
They're in over their heads too. And I hope the American people do not.
I want to ask you that because you're a comms director, you're a former comms director, and public relations. I'm going to play a little bit more of this report, but hold that thought because I want to ask you how you think they're doing this. Watch this.
Confidence in Waltz, calling him a, quote, good man who had learned a lesson from the episode. On Capitol Hill, Democrats blistering top intelligence officials John Ratcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard, both participants in the group chat.
This is an embarrassment. This is utterly unprofessional.
Gabbard refusing to answer most questions about the chat. Ratcliffe repeatedly telling senators he did not recall specific details of the conversation, but defending his own role in it.
My communications, to be clear, in a Signal message group were entirely permissible and lawful and did not include classified information.
Oh, it's right there.
President insisting
that's some CYA right there, Nina. Him and Marco Rubio are covering their behinds.
Yeah. But again, Don, it's up to the American people. They should not fall for this. This is a blunder. They made a mistake. They would do better to throw themselves on the mercy of the American people instead of making up excuses and again trying to make Goldberg the fall guy. They are not ready for prime time. Just plain and simple. The airstrikes is serious business. Dropping any kind of military action against any other country or any other group of people. This is serious business. Like you said, this is not like calling a sports game or just cavalierly walking down the street, but they are treating this as if it is nothing. And the harder they deflect, the more that the everyday people of this country should know that they are wrong. They're not up for the job. They need a crisis communicator. All of them should stop talking right now, and they need to go on and hire crisis communication firm.
Maybe they need to bring you in. We'll speak more about that. Finish out this report, and then Nina and I are going to talk. Here it is.
Chat, which Goldberg reported, included operational details about U.S. weapon systems, targets, timing, and even weather conditions, contained no classified information.
There was no classified information, as I understand it.
But at least one Republican, Nebraska Congressman Don Bacon, a former Air Force brigadier general, reacting differently.
Classified information was put on by the Secretary of Defense. So I think it's pretty clear.
Meanwhile, Garrett, as mentioned at the top, Vice President Vance is now.
So there was as I understand it, there's no top secret information. As I understand it, again, he's distancing himself. So how do you think that they are dealing with this as I don't know if you're still a comms director or a former comms director, but you know public relations. What's going on?
They're not dealing with it well. However, they are masterminds at changing the narrative. And so since they have good practice in doing that, that's exactly what they're trying to do now. Again, it is up to people like you, like me, and others to put out this story and for the American people to understand that those folks who are on that chain, this administration is not ready for prime time, and we cannot play games or play cutesy with talking about airstrikes. The United States Congress, I am so disappointed because they have abdicated again their responsibility to be a co-equal checks and balance on this president for political reasons. They're scared that he may primary them. They are failing too. And the Democrats, although they did a good job in questioning and challenging and raising the issue, there's a little bit of hypocrisy here because, again, when President Biden did things like this, short of Signalgate, they didn't say, to quote my grandmother, ne'er word. So they don't have nary a word. So they don't have a whole lot of standing here except for the Signalgate. This administration is too proud. They think they do everything 100% right. And the same mercy that this president and people like Speaker Johnson and others in the leadership of the GOP are asking for the everyday people of this country to have on those folks, the Department of Defense and others who are involved. They don't have that same mercy on the federal employees they displacing right now. They didn't have that same mercy on how they label everything that is a failure on DEI so they can get this country amped up to think that particularly anything that African Americans achieve could not be on our merit, our intellect, our beauty, and our worth. It had to be handed to us. See, so they want the same mercy that they're not meeting out in other places. Don, this is serious business because we're talking about the military, classified or not. What difference does it make? This is information that should not have been put out through Signal, and this is information that certainly a reporter should not have been privy to. They are not up to the task.
Wait a minute. What wasn't everybody on that text chain black? I mean, was this the?
I know, right? Right? Yeah.
I mean, on this blunder. But I got to ask you. Let's talk about Congress. And you mentioned the Biden administration. Look, I think this whole thing is about Signalgate, because every administration like that, they bomb people. I'm not saying it's right, but I mean that the difference here is that they are treating it as if it is a video game on an encrypted messaging platform that that can be hacked by our adversaries. And sure. Their excuse on top of that, somehow Donald Trump is saying it, and so did Waltz. I don't know how he got into this thing. Elon Musk is going to try to figure it out. If someone who is a reporter can hack into this, imagine what the experts can do. So none of this makes sense to me.
No, it doesn't. They know Goldberg didn't hack into this. They made a mistake, and they need to just throw themselves on the mercy, but they're too arrogant to do that. The only reason why I bring up Don, and I get it, Signalgate is what separates. My major contention here that I want people to add to the mix is that they overrode Congress. In other words, when you are going to conduct airstrikes, you have to go to the Congress. So my major argument, you have more than one thing can be true at once, is there's another layer to this, which is Article 1 of the United States Constitution, they could not, even whether we had Signalgate or not, the administration, the executive branch is not supposed to be launching airstrikes without it being in consultation with the United States Congress.
I am Coach V agrees with you, says that part. But what about the Records Act? Because these were set to, I guess in a couple of weeks or whatever, they were set to erase. And I know there's now someone suing them over records, a nonpartisan group. So how we're at what? Maybe 3 egregious offenses not going through Congress, giving highly sensitive information over a site that can be hacked, and then also not preserving records. Is it going to be the crime, or is it going to be the cover-up that really gets their asses in a sling?
I think it's a little bit of both. Yeah, a little bit of both. And yes, you have an obligation to keep public records, and each, the federal government has a schedule. For me as a state senator, former state senator in Ohio, we had a schedule. So all of our records had to be kept and disposed of in a certain way when we hit the time. And they have the same obligation. But they, meaning the federal government and everybody in it, has a similar obligation. The timeline might be different. We cannot depend on this administration to do anything correctly when it comes to that or anything else, because they believe firmly that they are above the law.
Yeah. What would happen to you as an elected official if you did some shit like this?
Oh my God, you could be fined, you could be prosecuted. I mean, it's a number of things that can happen to you. Each state again has its own rules, but you could get in some serious trouble. Fines, jail time, all of that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about how the right-wing media is covering this, if they're covering it at all. This is one of the most ridiculous things that we have seen today. This is over on the Fox News, the Will Cain on the Fox News. I'm not even gonna set it up. I'm gonna let you. Here it is.
Overhyped and oversold stories of the last several years, but it still leaves open the question: what is the role of Jeffrey Goldberg? He literally is the center of the story. He got invited, apparently, perhaps, maybe, he got included in a private group deliberation. Now, if you or I get invited to a party, brought into a party that we really just weren't supposed to be at, we didn't get an invitation, we politely excuse ourselves. Maybe that makes light of the situation. Improper disclosures are always made in the legal world. Private filings, information you shouldn't receive is sometimes sent over email to the wrong person. Lawyers bow out, announce their presence, and say it's time to move on. We saw none of that here with Jeffrey Goldberg. Instead, he sat around under the implausible rationale that he wanted to find out if it was real. He never bowed out. He never announced himself. Instead, the first the world heard of it is when he published what he claimed to be classified documents and overhyped and oversold as war plans. Is there not some ethical obligation on Jeffrey Goldberg to announce himself and to leave? He literally is the story. But for his presence, it's not a story. It's not as though he uncovered Watergate, he overheard something through a wall that happened to matter to national security. His presence is the story. What obligation does Jeffrey Goldberg have to make himself not the story, and to leave what he knows then is one of a private and important deliberation among President Trump's top cabinet? And that brings me to my second observation. I've had a long and ongoing debate with the Secretary of Defense about the use of emojis.
Nina, that was perhaps the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I feel dumb after listening to that. My IQ has gone down at 300 points. I'm making that up. But seriously, what the fuck is he talking about?
I mean, the things I do for you, Don Lemon, to suffer through that foolishness. He is the story. What is his obligation? He was invited, but then he wasn't invited. It's as if you went to a party, but no, brother, we're not talking about a party. This man was put in this chat, and other reporters might have stayed in there a little long. He didn't have any obligation to bow out. And I do believe him when he said, is this a joke? I mean, it was you and me at first glance, because you got AI, you got all these tricksters out here.
Is it a joke? Is it Project Veritas? If it's someone trying to trick you into something and catch you as a reporter?
Isn't it? It's curious to me how the fourth estate, when I talk about abdicating, so Congress is abdicating this responsibility, the fourth estate of mainstream media is abdicating its responsibility to look at matters of this significance with a critical lens and just report the news. He was given his opinion. He's already on the side of the administration. And he, Minister Malcolm X had a saying about the media, and this is not verbatim, but he said something like the media can make you love whom they will and hate whom they will. And so they have Fox News, they have their podcasters, all that little minions out there setting this up to make Jeff Goldberg the enemy. He is not the enemy. He didn't invite himself. They failed. They're not up to the task. They are mediocre, and they need to answer for this. I mean, the president should be firing some folks over this. This is serious business, but he won't and he can't, because these are the people that he handpicked. These are his yes men and yes women. And so they're not going anywhere. He's going to make excuses for them. Meanwhile, again, back at the ranch, thousands of federal employees, civil servants are being let go for less.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. You must be listening to the Don Lemon Show, because I've been talking about this whole right-wing media ecosystem, which is just, it's a wheel all day and all night. And they just sit in front of the TV or the radio or in these podcasts, as you say, and they just get all amped up on this bullshit. They don't even know the truth. By the way, let's see, I'm going to read some of this. Alana M. He had an obligation to the American people and upheld it as a respected journalist, talking about Jeffrey Goldberg. And it's right. Exactly right. And thank you for your support of independent media. By the way, make sure you hit the thumbs up, make sure you hit the like, and subscribe. The subscription button is at the bottom of the screen, right under the Don Lemon Show logo. And our membership link is at the top of the chat. All right. So it's important that we can stay here and report, and we don't have to do all of that bullshit dancing that Will Cain did about something that I don't know if he even believes makes sense. Yes, and I'm supposed to wake up on the operating table and tell the surgeon he is removing the wrong kidney, says Chloe.
That's good.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Madness. Yeah, I'm supposed to do that. Yes, you are supposed to do that. That is your obligation. Okay, so back to let's get back on track here. I'm going to table that, and I'm going to move on. I want to talk about Elise Stefanik. Stefanik, however you want to pronounce it. She's supposed to be the next U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. And, she'd been touting it. She was all excited about it since November and blah, blah, blah. She has really sold her soul to the MAGA, devil. And she's done a 180 from where she was when she actually went to become an elected official. And now all of a sudden she's MAGA. Well, the reporting now is that they don't want her to leave because they're afraid of losing the majority. Here's a report on Stefanik. Here it is.
Joins me now. So what's going on with Stefanik, and have you heard from any lawmakers since the news broke, Jay?
Yeah, it's looking like the primary concern here, Kira, was this razor-thin House majority that would have shrunk even more if Elise Stefanik had been confirmed as UN ambassador. It would have shrunk from a 218-213 Republican-Democratic majority to a 217-213. And we've seen the issues facing House Republicans as they've tried to wrangle the House Republican Conference together and pass significant pieces of legislation. And they've got to pass this budget that has all of President Trump's campaign promises in it in the months to come. So this was a serious concern for congressional Republicans.
Here's my question.
And even if Republicans could.
Here's the thing. Why did he nominate her in the first place? Shouldn't they have thought about this beforehand?
Yeah, they should have done. You took the words right out of my mouth. As a matter of tactics, though, not defending at all. I want your audience to know this. As a matter of tactic, the numbers are what they are. So from a tactical vantage point, they didn't understand that going in. They caught it before she was nominated and took the position. So they're backing up and asking her to be the sacrificial lamb to be able to keep that razor thin margin of majority that they have. So as a matter of tactics, I would say they're doing the right thing.
I think I've lost. I don't know if you guys can hear me. If you can hear me. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so look, let me get to, this is what the New York Magazine is reporting, and I think it's true. I think she's going to be very disappointed at it because she's supposed to be in a leadership role. She has stepped down from her leadership role, and now the person who replaced her is saying, I'm not stepping down, because Donald Trump said, okay, she's going back to this leadership role, and the woman is like, no, she's not. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. And the New York Magazine says it really sucks to be Elise Stefanik right now. It does suck to be her. You have a figure. Let me read some of this, and then just to give a little context. You have to figure Elise Stefanik has been getting pretty antsy lately. She announced way back in November, on November 10th, so long ago, that Doge was an evil glimmer in Elon Musk's eyes, that Donald Trump had offered her the cabinet level position of U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. It must have seemed like a pretty sweet gig. No management responsibilities at all, but a lot of public attention, just like her predecessor, Nikki Haley, and the chance to please the boss by attacking his growing list of global enemies. And now, what say you?
She collateral damage, you know? And as far as her duking out for the leadership position, I mean, she should make sure that their boss, because yes, if she was a UN ambassador, the executive, the president is her boss. But however, we all know that he's bossing that Congress. He's bossing the GOP. There are very few of them, if any, who have the intestinal fortitude or the ovarian audacity to stand up against this man. Okay. So he bosses the executive branch, and he the boss of the GOP over in that Congress. So
I love the ovarian audacity. Did you come up with that? Is that a Nina Turner?
I'm borrowing that from one of my colleagues in South Carolina, but I love it. I will give him credit one time. His name is Craig. But other than that, yes, he can't say it like I can say it.
Yes, I know. I love it. I love it. And you're right on target. But this is something that's really been bothering me, and I'm so glad that Tim Miller over at The Bulwark has been on it, because they have been really, I believe, in how do I say this? Avoiding giving people their due process, right? Whether they are documented or undocumented. If they are doing things that are illegal in the country, I don't think anyone doubts or anyone disbelieves that they should be held accountable and deported. But there should be due process. This is America, and we do things a certain way. And it seems now it's not just the deportation of these people that they are saying are criminals and illegal, as they call them. It is the cruelty that is the point, as they have been, putting up videos. And oh my gosh, I forgot the scandal of the day. Can we please get Kristi Noem taking that picture? But Tim Miller has been reporting on this, and there was one young man who is a gay man, and it says that he has been, he feels that he is being tortured. He is crying. He says, I'm not a gang member. Do I look like a gang member? And now his attorneys are on it. And apparently he has no due process. But watch Tim Miller, and then I'm going to show you what Kristi Noem did.
It's Tim. I'm in a hotel, but I couldn't sleep last night after seeing the photos of Andre, the gay Venezuelan that we have been reporting on, who was sent to the El Salvador prison camp to be beaten with no due process. We finally get to see what he looks like. And let me ask you, does this man look like a member of Tren de Aragua? Does he look like a gang member? Look at this person. Is this fucking West Side Story? What do you mean? This guy is a dangerous gang member? This guy was so dangerous that our government had to send him on a plane with no due process to a dystopian hellscape where he was beaten, where he was crying for his mother, according to reports from Time. Look at this person. This is a man. His name is Andre. This is a gay man who deserves, at minimum, his day in court. He fled the communists to come. Remember, we used to be that shining city on the hill. We used to be a beacon for freedom. He fled communism for freedom. And what we have done to him is despicable. It is evil. And anyone that is involved with it is evil. Please contact your representatives and senators. Send them the pictures and the articles about Andre and the great work that his lawyers at Immigrant Defenders have been doing to advocate for him. What we are doing is wrong. What we are doing is sick. This person and any others like him that are wrongfully detained in El Salvador should be brought back immediately.
What do you think of that, Nina?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what he's saying. Definitely due process. Again, I want the everyday people of this country to measure up what the Trump administration has said, even in the first term to this term, all of the people, this whole notion of rule of law. And they're not following the rule of law. So they're hypocrites. I wouldn't necessarily go based on looks. I mean, looks can be deceiving. The bottom line is no matter how he looks,
due process.
Due process. This administration is wrong all day long. And it's people like Andre today. It could be other people tomorrow. Don, certainly you and I know the Lemonheads know too, those who study history. And not that these two things are equal, but there's some similarity. Black people historically understand what it means for government just to snatch you up, to bug your hotel room, to set you up, to put people in your midst, to stir things up, only because you were fighting for the rights of Black people not to be treated like second-class citizens, or dare I say 10th class citizens in the nation of their birth. So government overreach is really the moral of my story, and people do deserve due process according to the laws that we have right now. They are not doing that. They are stoking fear. And one of the reasons why they're doing this, Don, because they want to, it's a banana in the tailpipe kind of thing. Look over here, but don't look over there. We are not driving down inflation as the president ran on. Don't look over there, look over here. He ran as a populist. I'm going to say a faux populist. And the things, those executive orders that he's signing with a quickness to paint all different people as the other, when he could be increasing the minimum wage, when he could be protecting Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, you name it, universal child care, all of those things he could be doing to make America great. Not again, because I don't want to go too far back down. That ain't good for people like you and me. But if he truly wants to make America great, then he would be taking care of material conditions of our people. He would not be othering other folks. And if there are true immigrants who are here, I know the fact that if you are not here legally, whether you committed a crime or not, then that we should have a conversation with that and deal with that. And then also on the other hand, they say that they're deporting the worst of the worst. And some of these stories, they're just snatching people up. If they would just follow the law, we could make a determination. And if the Congress, not just this Congress, previous Congresses and previous presidents came up with a safe, humane way to deal with immigration reform, let's agree on the rules and let's execute the rules, we may not be in the situation that we are in. But for those who want to clamp on to the fact that, oh my God, he's getting those people out of this country, what he is doing is distracting you. He's playing a shell game for the things that he is not doing to secure and change material conditions for working class people in the United States of America. That's all. This is a cover up, Don.
That's Nina.
Cover up for inadequacies.
Right. Cover up for inadequacies, and a cover up for and for really just power. That's it. Just having power. I had Anthony Scaramucci on yesterday, and Anthony said, "Look, Don, he doesn't care about the stock market that much. He just likes to see that he can manipulate it and he can make the markets go up and down." Yeah. Look, I'm going to show. This is what I put out. This is Kristi Noem. I put this out. When I saw this, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe she's doing that." And I had a few harsh words to say about it. Here it is.
If you guys have seen the video of puppy killer Kristi Noem standing in front of shirtless men behind bars that they say are criminals and gang members, okay, fine, but that's your photo op? It is really one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. Why are we putting up with this shit as a country? It's gross.
I also want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use.
We probably shouldn't be surprised, because this administration is always using people as props, whether it's at a fake State of the Union or at some dumb executive order signing bill. par for the course. Still gross though.
Very.
Am I lying? And I hear word on the street is that she's standing there in front of those. You saw the men with all the tattoos with a $60,000 watch on her left wrist. Again,
yeah,
allegedly.
You know, her right to purchase that if she can afford it. But again, they think this is all a game, just like Signalgate. Them kikiing it up on Signalgate about drop airstrikes. It's the same thing here. The lack of humanity for these people and to utilize due process to try to scare people in this way. She could have sat in her office and said, don't come here. You know, she could have did a press conference, don't come here. But again, like you said, it is absolutely disgusting. It is the othering of people, and it is to stoke this anger for the American people. So we got to be angry towards immigrants and illegal. I mean, listen, again, if people are here illegally, let's have that conversation, but don't prop these people and don't dehumanize them. So that's one thing. So that you don't question why we don't have universal health care, why we don't have universal child care. Why doesn't this president increase the federal minimum wage, do away with the sub minimum wage? I mean, there's so many things that he could use his prowess to do in his pen that he uses for executive orders to truly lift the American people in this country. But oh no, he's not going to do any of that. They want you to be focused on immigrants so that they don't have to do anything real. It's this, we're tough. But you know what, Don? They don't believe in law and order. Obviously, we understand this.
And they did. Someone in the chat said they made them stand there. They did make them stand there. There's a longer video where they're making them come forward and take their shirts off to show the tattoos.
Yeah, it's sick. Like you said, it's sick.
Yeah, trying to criminalize all immigrants. But look, again, as you said, if they are doing things that are illegal, if they are gang members and all of that, then we can have that conversation. We can deal with it. This is what the White House, this came out on the White House official page today. Let's put this up. This is a cartoon. I forget, I don't know the origin of this cartoon, but apparently they put it out and they said, you know, Virginia Basara Gonzalez, a previously deported alien felon convicted of fentanyl trafficking, was arrested by at ICE.gov in Philadelphia after illegally re-entering the U.S. And so that's where they're putting this cartoon. This is from the White House, Nina. I don't know.
They think it's a game, Don. That's all I can describe it. You know, tricks are for kids. These people are not serious and they are not ready for prime time and they are not suited to run this country. They think everything is a game. And it is going to take the American people to stand up to this because obviously the checks and balances in Congress is no longer there.
This is an example, I believe, of what the American people should be doing. And I believe perhaps the Democrats, because, you know, our allies are saying, many of them are saying, we're not scared of you. We're going to fight back. We're not letting you dictate to the world how the world should conduct itself. You worry about America. This is a Canadian prime minister. Here he is.
The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation, is over. What exactly the United States does next is unclear. But what is clear is that we as Canadians have agency. We have power. We are masters in our own home. Nous sommes maîtres chez nous. We can control our destiny. We can give ourselves much more than any foreign government, including the United States, can ever take away. We can deal with this crisis best by building our strength right here at home. It will take hard work. It will take steady and focused determination from governments, from businesses, from labor, from Canadians. We will need to dramatically reduce our reliance on the United States. We will need to pivot our trade relationships elsewhere. And we will need to do things previously thought impossible at speeds we haven't seen in generations.
Have we, that's good. Have we, not we, America, Trump, have they fucked around and found out?
Oh yeah, look, Canada, I ain't mad at you. They saying, hey, you may be bigger, you may think you're badder, but you can try it if you want to. You can't bully us. No, the United States is bullying other nations, and the bully, a nation that has been a very strong ally to us makes no sense. I mean, it's bad enough we already have enemies. Governments have enemies and they have allies, and they are sitting up here blowing a strong relationship with a reliable ally. And this president and the GOP believe just because we're bigger that they're going to take this. They're not going to take it. And I'm glad they letting us know. They letting that administration know we will look elsewhere. Yeah. It's up to us how we roll. And hey, we might not be rolling with you no more.
They're saying, don't play me, play lotto.
That's it. Right? That's it. Thank you. One. That my maternal grandmother used to say, when you dig a ditch, you better dig two. One for me and one for you. And they done effed around and found out. Now, you know what, you got to be some kind of slimy to piss Canada off. I mean, who makes Canada mad?
They're like the nicest people ever. Right. They're so like, okay, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, drop the piece of paper on the floor. This is New York. Nobody gives a shit that you just dropped a piece of paper. Okay, so let's I want to talk to you about this because I know you're progressive. Am I right? I don't want to mislabel you.
I'm a liberator. I believe in liberation. But
so I want to know, look at all of these folks who are out there supporting your former person that you were the communications director for, and that you were
communications director for. Don, you gave me a new job. I was a national surrogate in 2016 and a national
Wait, hold on. I stepped on you. Tell me your role again.
National co-chair in 2020 and national surrogate in 2016.
No disrespect. That was my mistake. So
No, none taken.
Okay, so this is Bernie Sanders and AOC. Look at these crowds that are out there, this aerial view showing this. And this is, look, we have to remember, this is not a midterm, not like a big election year. This is not a presidential election. We have only been, a month since or so, just maybe a little bit more, almost 2 months since the inauguration happened. And not even almost 2 months, just a month. And here we have all of these people are out there. And, we said, you talked about the Democrats. You said you didn't want to beat up on them, but shouldn't they be leaning into this? Because what else do they have?
I said I don't want to beat up on them too much. I beat up on them often. I was going to give them a little reprieve. But yeah, I mean, it's obvious by these crowds that there's a hunger out there for somebody to fight. And the Democrats at this moment have lost their fight. Now, I contend if you got a 27% approval rating as a former college professor, that's an F. Mm-hmm. You need to reevaluate what you are doing and to do a new thing. I don't understand how the same leadership stays in place, and that is both for Senator Schumer and also for leader Hakeem Jeffries. The same group that got us in this mess should not be the same group ruling things in my opinion. I ain't even gonna be humble about it. I don't see how you keep the same leadership. You want to talk about this is bigger than the shellacking that Democrats took in 2010. President Donald J. Trump 2.0 won the popular vote and won the Electoral College. And here we got these Democrats. Some of them are feckless, Don. And I just believe that neoliberalism brings neo-fascism. And part of the reason that we are in this mess is because the Democratic Party did not have a robust primary. They did not expose some of the challenges that President Biden had. On one hand, President Biden said he was going to be a transformational leader, that he wasn't going to run again. He changed his mind. And then, baby, here we are. So the Democrats, that's a hunger. You asked me about the aerial. It is people saying we want something different. And we are hungering for some type of leadership. Tell us what to do. But you can't tell people what to do if you don't have a plan. The plan can't simply be to complain about Donald J. Trump, because he's showing, even though I don't like much of what he's doing, like 99.9% of what he is doing, what he is showing is how to use power. Meanwhile, when the Democrats control both chambers of the House and the presidency, we couldn't get the federal minimum wage increase. They blamed it on the parliamentarian. Now, I don't know if it's just me, or I don't know if you remember that they blamed it on the damn parliamentarian.
Yeah. I got to say this. I was so disappointed. And look, we're saying a lot of the same things, especially about leadership. Like, I hate to criticize, because the people I'm criticizing, I actually really like them personally. I just don't.
You're not criticizing them. You are critiquing.
Okay, right. You're right. And I think that they are good people. A lot of them are good sort of strategists, but it doesn't mean that they're the folks who need to be out front. They should.
I don't know how you let Trump get back in office. No, they not good strategies. They not.
Okay.
Maybe once upon a time, but not for this moment. They're not. Absolutely not. And you bring hellfire, neo-fascism on this country. Y'all played fast and loose. They didn't want a primary. They sat on people like Dr. Cornel West, Dr. Jill Stein. I'm not asking the Lemon Nation to critique whether or not those people were the people. What I am saying is that if you are going to be the champion of democracy, then you can't use your powers in state after state to try to kick folks who got the courage to run off the ballot. The only actively elected official who had the courage to jump in that race was Congressman Dean Phillips. He was the only one. Other people had other types of courage, like Dr. West, like Dr. Stein. Again, I'm not asking people to evaluate whether they wanted them or not. You run RFK Jr. over to the other side because you're too arrogant to have a meeting with him. Don, they created this hellscape that we are in right now. Now, President Trump could be doing something different, so he has a responsibility too. But I mean, in terms of him being there again, the Democrats got to look at the men, the women, the people in the mirror. They got to do an autopsy and they got to make a change, to quote Michael Jackson. Okay, if they're not willing to do that, so Schumer should step down as far as I'm concerned, and so should Hakeem Jeffries. You can't get the people who got us here, can't get us out. Bottom line.
I got you here because I want to hear what you have to say. And you said it. Look, I got to tell you, I did a virtual town hall, and there were some lawmakers in there, and one of them said, and look, I'm not saying again, I'm not criticizing anyone, I'm critiquing, but we just need to win 3 Republicans or 4 or 5. And I'm like, that's not gonna, what is this, 1997? That ain't gonna happen. It's not, right? Am I wrong? Donald Trump is pushing all of the stuff through that they want. They're afraid of Donald Trump, and and look, as you said, the Congress, do we have a Congress and a Senate right now?
No, they are part of the executive branch. Whatever Donald Trump wants, Donald Trump gets.
But they're supposed to be part of the legislative branch. They are the legislative branch.
Co-equal.
But now they're part of the executive branch.
Exactly. They done forgot civics. Maybe we need to send them back to civics. Are we still allowed to teach civics though? In the United States of America, they need to understand separate.
They're going to outlaw that.
Right. Co-equal branch of government, but they've given up their power. It's not about moving a few seats here or there. It is about who has a vision to provide provision. And so while I appreciate the oligarch tour, really what the Democrats need, they need a plan. It is not just Donald Trump is bad, the oligarchs are bad, which they are. We live in a society that is immoral. It is immoral. Somebody gave me a stat down. I don't know if you ever heard this. To spend $1 billion, it would take you 31 years. Not just 31 years. You would have to spend $1 a second. Now I want people to wrap their minds around that. And so we are in a society that crushes working class people, but give the people, so the few have so much and the many have so little. And then you have a party, both duopoly. The duopoly is failing working class people. So to my Democratic colleagues, it's not just enough to rail against Donald J. Trump because they had the same opportunities too. President Biden could have just, executive order, cancel student debt, executive order. I don't give a let them take me to court. All that stuff. You didn't do it. You have to have a vision. They don't have it. They don't even know how to fight this dude. So, I mean, the president, let me not be flipped.
We need to go.
He is the president.
We need to go. Look, I think I need to run. Shit.
Hey, do it, baby. Do it.
You think I'm crazy?
Lemon Nation, what y'all saying? Do it.
That's a whole nother show. Don't get the Lemonheads. And look, the Lemonheads are famous. Can you tell them how famous they are, the Lemon Nation? Everywhere I go, I'm a Lemonhead.
Oh, my God. Yes. They are a thing. Listen, Lemonheads, Lemon Nation, if you don't know, you the it girl. You the it boy. You the it person, baby. You it.
And you are it too. Thank you, Nina Turner. You are the best. We love that you are here, and you always bring the heat.
So much love, Don.
And
Don, I gotta come back. I want to talk to you about the freedom budget for all Americans, which I think is a plan to liberate working class people from all backgrounds. When I say working class, I mean everybody.
Okay.
All backgrounds as envisioned by by Asa Philip Randolph, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Bayard Rustin. It's called the Freedom Budget for All Americans.
All right. I would love to come. And so when can you come back? You let me know, okay?
I will let you know, baby. To the lemon heads, sending you so much love. I am so thrilled to be back with you guys. And Don, we can't let it be too much. We can't have a big gap between when I come back.
No,
so.
I like that smile though. I wonder what's behind that smile.
My boo.
Oh, you're the one who said, "Don't tell your business."
I know.
You'll tell it. She got a new boo. Hey. Hey.
I love you, Don. You see that, Don? Don for president. I'm distracting.
Right? Being without you means being alone. I don't want to be alone at night. All right, Nina. So look,
love you. Love you,
lemon too. Nina, did you see my favorite one said lemon for liberty? That's going to be my thing.
Okay, guys. I love it. And I'm getting so much love from lemon heads. Thank you all. Love you so much.
We love you. Bye. Thank you, Nina. Be well.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Nina Turner, big applause. Yay. We're so glad that she was here. So, guys, I went over. I was only supposed to go a little bit. My producer's like, don't go too long because we have a private stream for our lemon heads and our lemon legends. And so, And so if you're on that tier of membership, then you get our private stream. And then I'm going to really talk to you about what's going on, because you know how we talk in the private chat. So if you want to become a member, you can. The membership link is in the top of the chat. And if you want to become a member where you get a private stream, you get to talk to us. I may open this mini bar up in this hotel and have a little cocktail or something. I see some wine, but we'll see what's up. And so it's Thursday, it's Friday Eve. So we're going to have a little private chat. But I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much. Please hit the thumbs up. Please hit the like button, thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, smash the screen. And make sure you become a member. It's really important to us. So thank you. Welcome to the Lemon Nation. What? Question mark is a member of the Lemon Nation now. So is Joe and Julie Simmons. Thank you. Who would be on the ticket with you, Don Lemon? I don't know. Maybe Kara Swisher or somebody like that. What do you think? Who do you guys think? It'd be someone like that. I don't know. It would be someone that who could, hold me accountable. And, thank you, Charlene Chavez, for your support. Thank you, everyone, for your generous support of independent media. Keep supporting us, independent journalists. We need it. Sammy, welcome to the Elimination. Sarah Spence, welcome to the Elimination. Melanie Rice, Isaiah Mercado. Who else in here up in this Elimination? Who's this? K Marie, 2251. Welcome. Sarah Spence, I said that. Melanie Rice, all of you guys, thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to hop on the other stream. If you want to become, you don't, it's not too late. Just hit that membership link at the top of the chat, okay? And I will see you guys soon. So as I always say, you guys know what I say when I log off of this thing, right? If you're on the TikTok, by the way, we're going to go over to the subscription only. So if you want to go into our private chat and talk behind the scenes and, do what we want to do, go get a subscription on the TikTok. Okay, so I'll see you guys. Hey, Michelle, Simone, Simon, Francis, welcome to the Elimination. Okay, members only. So turn the TV off. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never, ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.